What a lovely morning here at the Slovakia ring. Hello and welcome to the Goodyear European Truck Racing Championship. Of course, it's an official FIA series and we're standing here right in the paddock. And as you can see, Antonio Albertetti's truck is there's still something to do. But let's talk first about the conditions here in Orechowa-Potoń. I tried to learn it, but didn't manage it anyway. So the weather conditions yesterday, they were absolutely mad. From pure sunshine to rain. This is why I already got my rain jacket on. But it's so lovely to see all the personnel here working hard. But of course, unfortunately, Albertetti was during warm-up out in the gravel and on the grass. And this is why the team is heavily working on him and on his truck. And as you can see, he's got his helmet on. I think that's a good sign. We just heard the engine rumbling and we might show you some working images again right now live here with us. So the warm-up went quite well for the rest of the team. Steffi Halm, Jamie Anderson and Andre Kurzem with some times like 2:45.xx and Sascha Lenz with a 4:37.581, the fastest lap. Norbert Kisch right behind him, but as you might have noticed, he's the one with the fastest lap. Yesterday he was pole setter after qualifying. We're not sure yet if we're going to talk to Tim Frost. Obviously, they're in a hurry right now. If they do not manage to get the truck ready for qualifying, he still has got the opportunity to compete in race number 1, but of course from the end of the pack. So that's the warm-up right now. First on the outlap, then full event, and we can see that Mark Tyler, if we turn around right now, is ready to start to give it a go. That's very, very interesting to be at this time here at the paddock. You need to be careful with all the engineers, and it's quite narrow here to get by. But we're so glad to be back here at the Slovakia ring with you and of course with our commentators, Chaz Drake, Joachim Eberts and Fonzie Severian. Welcome to you three guys. It's good to have your voices back on my ear. So why don't we have a look at the best pictures from yesterday? It's been a day full of events.
Yes, thank you very much, Christina. Hello, everybody. Chaz Draycott here from the UK, commentating remotely this weekend, but really enjoying myself because we still get a fantastic view of all of the spirits and all of the action of the event that's been taking place, I should say, here at the Slovakia ring. Great to have Jamie Anderson back with us as well for this weekend, and we've got a bunch of drivers all looking to improve time and time again. Unfortunately, the two British drivers of John Newell and Mark Taylor didn't make it through the first qualifying session yesterday, but going into Superpole, it was a big mad dash until the end to make sure that everybody could get the best time they could on the board. In these beautiful conditions, it was Norbert Kisch that put it on pole. He was actually a little bit slower in Superpole than he was in qualifying, so he wasn't too happy with himself with that performance. But we had a colossal rain shower before the first race, and then everybody went into the second race thinking what might happen here weather-wise. There was a lot of argy-bargy in the early stages. Jochen Hahn making his way through very early to chase down Andre Kurzem after Jose Eduardo Rodriguez, who started on pole position, was forced out wide by a number of drivers and dropped down the pack. And then it was Norbert Kisch fighting his way back through the pack, first getting past Antonio Albertetti, then getting through past Jamie Anderson, and then suddenly the rain started coming down and Norby had the advantage. He and that truck are so good in the wet conditions that he managed to breeze past Jochen Hahn, and the race would finish under full course yellow, and that would see Norbert take 2 wins out of 2 so far this weekend at the Slovakia ring. It's certainly going well for him so far in retaking the championship lead. Jochen Hahn trying to hold on to that second place in the championship and stick with Norby for the remainder. But we'll have to see how they get on today with qualifying 1 coming up, then 2 more races. It should be a hell of a lot of fun. Let's see what we can do then and see whether anybody can catch Norby.
And Antonio Albertetti is out. Okay. Antonio Albertetti and his truck is out. Thanks to Tim Frost and his team. Well done, guys. What was the problem?
We blew a turbo in the warm-up, so with the high-speed corners here, it's really difficult with the oil pressures, and then the first thing to go is the turbo, so we put some more oil in. I know it sounds quite amateurish, but if we put more oil in, then it throws out what it doesn't want, and we maybe just lost a little bit too much yesterday, and then first thing we lost today was the turbo. So.
Well, what a start, but good job to everyone. Thanks to the team.
Also the team, yeah. We couldn't do it without them, so yeah, really happy. So let's see what happens in quali now. Hopefully we get P2 again, but you never know.
Good luck then. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. So we hop onto our golf cart, trying to catch the other trucks right there in the pit lane. So Chas, Ebi and Fonzie, up to you.
Thanks very much, Christina. Yes, the session has gone green, so the trucks are now out on circuit for the first time today, or at least the first time on our screens today. Anyway, we've had the warm-up sessions ahead of time. As you heard there from Tim Frost, it's another one of the demanding parts of this circuit is the fact that because this track has so many long, sweeping, high-speed corners, the oil pressure is one of the main problems that they have to deal with. It's interesting how it's little intricacies, isn't it, like that can affect these massive racing machines. I said yesterday, they're not fickle at all, these racing trucks. They are very, very solid, very sturdy. I was mentioning how the right rear wheel it was on Sasha Lenz's truck had a massive puncture yesterday, and the fact that they can still race with a puncture on the outside rear tyres because they have 4 tyres on the back. So as long as the inner wheel isn't punctured or doesn't have any dramas, then they can continue on at almost full pace, to be fair. We've seen some fantastic drives by a few people in the field with only 5 tyres on the truck. But it's Norbert Kish leading Jochen Hahn and Antonio Albertetti around the circuit at the moment. They go out in this session in current championship order, and that gets applied from yesterday as well. So yesterday's points get included. There is Sasha Lenz in 4th place. He was fastest in the warm-up earlier on as well, as Christina rightly said, ahead of Norbert Kish. So we hope to see some more performances out of Sasha Lenz that earn him those big championship points, because he's had a bit of a rough start to the season so far. He's not quite made the headway that we've seen him make for the last 2 years, where he's been right on the ball from the off. He had a bit of a nightmare at the end of Misano as well, with the penalty markers getting a drive through and having a tough fight back through from the back of the field. So he's going to want more from this round in Slovakia, that's for sure. And we obviously hope for him and the team that they get that as well. We send them our best, and we hope that all of our competitors have a lovely day. It looks like the weather is a little bit better than it was yesterday, to say the least. We had this colossal rain shower yesterday that I don't think any of us could have believed or predicted, to be honest with you. It just came out of nowhere, and all of a sudden everybody down there got drenched. Christina was very sturdy in not letting the rain force her back into the garage. She stayed down there on the grid like an absolute trooper and brought us interviews and pictures and all sorts. So we managed to still speak to a lot of the drivers and the teams as well. But now you can see everyone just lining themselves up for their first fast laps of the session. It doesn't look like they're very spread out at the moment, but they will be once they get round that final corner. They'll all take it easy round the long turn 13, almost 270 degrees, and then flick it left through the kink at turn 14 and power down this colossal start-finish straight here. It's got nothing on the likes of Fuji in Japan, let's say, but it's still a very, very long start-finish straight, very wide start-finish straight as well. Feels like you're in this vast open area, and with the fact that this circuit only has man-made hills in it, it really does feel like you're in a large, large area when you're down there all on your own. Norbert Kish crossing the line then around turn 1 to get started on his first flying lap of the session. Sasha Lenz there turning into turn 1, just having a little bit of a wiggle on the way in. Andre Kurzim's going well. He's 5th in the championship so far. He had a bit of an upside down day yesterday, but he got himself a podium for his troubles, which was his, I think, 16th podium, I said it was, in his career in this championship. He's looking for that 10th race victory to go into double figures as well. He's got 9 wins from 189 starts. And this will be race start number 350 next up for Norbert Kish. I had it as 348 before the start of the weekend, but we'll go over that in the background. Look at the way that it changes direction through there. Look at the speed of these things. It's remarkable, isn't it? That was through turns 4 and 5, into the long right-hander at turn 6. We've then got a left kink at 7, into the hairpin at turn 8. No corner names on this circuit, only numbers. I'm not sure which I prefer, to be fair. It adds character to a circuit when they've got names, but I like the fact that sometimes it is just numbers. There is Antonio Albacete. Great to see him back out so suddenly as well after warm-up. There was only about half an hour between sessions as well, which shows you just how quick at repairing that truck this team are. They are some of the best in the business, T-Sport, but now they're a fantastic bunch, and Tim Frost, who we spoke to a moment ago, is a very motivated bloke when it comes to making sure that truck is fixed and out there and running at its best. There's John Newell and his team, another one of the British teams in the championship. Very interesting cutouts in the side of the bodywork on John Newell's truck. You'll see a lot of them have their own sort of innovative shapes of these body panels. They all have, I wouldn't say complete free reign, but they have a lot of capability to go modifying the body panels for the benefit of the truck. And John Newell's has these very interesting round cutouts at the front and rear of the panel. Just look at the side panel there between the wheels. It's almost like it channels air through and around the bodywork. There's Jamie Anderson with this very interesting front grille design on their truck. They've all noticed, I think, a big improvement in the aerodynamic capability of the trucks when they have this humongous grille cut out on the front, almost making the truck completely hollow. A lot of the time when you look at the trucks from the front, if you pay close attention to that middle grille at the very front of the cab, you can often see right through these trucks. Maybe not with the MAN of Antonio Albacete or the Iveco here of Jochen Hahn, but if you look at Norbert Kisch's truck, look at Jamie Anderson's truck, maybe even Sasha Lenz's as well, you can sometimes see all the way through them. It's pretty amazing, to be fair, and when you do see them in the paddock and you stand in front of them, you'll see the same. Norbert Kisch fastest then, 2:42.766. That's faster than the race lap record that he set here in 2017 on the championship's first visit when he was racing in a Mercedes Actros. Sasha Lenz is second from Antonio Albacete, then Jochen Hahn. Steffi Halm up there in 5th place. Good stuff by Steffi. And Jose Eduardo Rodriguez leads the Promoters Cup drivers. They're the ones designated with a little P next to their name on the left-hand side of your screen there. They're basically drivers that are rated as Chrome drivers, as they are known. So we have 2 categories in this championship, Titan and Chrome. Titan considered the Pro class, Chrome considered not so much an AM class as such, but still just an idea on the drivers that maybe aren't the complete quickest in the championship. So Titan classification is given to any driver that's won the championship in the last 10 years, or anyone that's finished in the top 7 in the overall results of the previous season. And it's also given to any driver who's qualified in the top 5 more than once in the previous season as well. And other than that, it's anybody that is considered a pro driver by the FIA, or anyone that has platinum or gold categorization under the FIA's categorization system. There are also outstanding achievements that can be considered outside of that if they don't adhere to those conditions, but basically anyone that isn't under any of those conditions is rated as a Chrome driver and eligible for the Promoters Cup in the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. There's Steffi Halm, 5th place for her at the moment. Again, she had a bit of a topsy-turvy day yesterday as well. She started right near the front of the grid in the second race of the day, eventually ended up finishing in 8th position after a lot of elbows were out, that's safe to say. Andre Kurzim was one of the beneficiaries of the reverse grid, starting right near the front alongside Jose Eduardo Rodriguez. Unfortunately, Jose Eduardo dropped right down. I think he was 8th by the end of the first lap, actually. So he wasn't having the best time of it. But Andre stayed up there near the front, got overtaken by Jochen Hahn and then by Norbert Kisch, but he managed to hold on for a podium finish, which he and the team were very happy about. There's Norbert Kisch going slowly on this secondary lap, but a lot of the drivers will now come into the pits. I'd reckon that everyone down to, I'd say Jose Eduardo Rodriguez will probably come in the pits because he's 1.1 seconds clear of Stefan Fass. I expect to see Fass, Requenco, Newell and Taylor all stay out on the circuit here. And right on cue there is John Newell actually going through shot, overtaking Norbert Kisch as he pushes on to go on another fast lap. But it's Norby that is once again fastest here at the Slovakia ring. Not by as much as he would probably like. It's not the comfortablest of margins, but for those drivers that go through, don't forget the top 10 go through to Super Pole from this. From those drivers that go through, the order in which you finish this qualifying session is the order in which you go out on the circuit in the next session. I think that's it's Mark Taylor, isn't it, coming around the final corner, making his way across the line now. Now, is Stefan Faas? No, Stefan Faas is coming in, actually. He's happy with 9th place. He's then actually 7/10 of a second clear of Louis Requenco, who's then 8/10 clear of John Newell. So those guys are pretty happy at the moment. Louis Requenco looks like he's coming into the pits as well, actually. Although he may go back out, and we'll have to see. But an out lap or a cool-down lap round here is nearly 4 minutes in length. It's a very, very long lap indeed. Norbert Kish did a 3 minutes 55.6 that time round. His fastest lap of the session, obviously, a 2:42.76, as you see on the left-hand side of your screen. There is the number 11 Don't Touch Racing machine of Andre Kursim. And here is John Newell in the number 18 NWT Motorsport machine. It's a very beautiful metallic blue colour. As I said yesterday, they're a team that are very well presented. They always have a fantastic image about them. And they're lovely blokes as well, great to speak to. And Antonio Albertetti has come into the pit lane, but not only that, he's gone straight back into the paddock, I've been told. Thank you to Andreas Ahn, the legend that is, who has just messaged me and said that Antonio's gone straight back to the paddock. So I'm not sure if they've got some overriding issue from earlier on. Now, I'd have to get the rule book out, but I'm not sure whether if he goes back to the paddock between qualifying and Super Pole, whether he's allowed back out or whether that shows no intention of going back out. So we'll have to wait and see. But Mark Taylor, he's pushing on at the moment. In terms of the first sectors, John Newell did a 53.5. Yeah, trust me, a sector here is 53 seconds. The middle sector is almost a minute and a half here at the Slovakia ring. It's a ridiculously long lap, nearly 6 kilometres, sorry. 53.5 for John Newell. Mark Taylor did a 53.3, so he's 2/10 up in that first sector. Let's see what the second sector times are like, because they come in just about now out of the exit of turn 12 over the crest of the hill. 1:19.4 for John Newell. It's almost it's a Formula 1 Grand Prix lap, isn't it? 1:19. 1:20 for Mark Taylor, so he's 6/10 down in that middle sector, which means that out of the two of them, John Newell is now a couple of tenths up, coming around the final corner at turn 13. Here he is. Is he going to be able to improve? It's nice and smooth around the final corner. Across the line he goes, and it is an improvement from John Newell. Doesn't move up, and we're going to move over to Christina in the pit lane.
Yes, talking to Luis Recuenco. ¿Cuáles son las dificultades en la pista?
No, dificultades en la pista de momento nada. Está todo seco, está todo perfecto. Está bien, buen día, además.
So you said no problems today. I mean, yesterday we had a lot of rain, but today is absolutely perfect, very good conditions. So what are you hoping for?
Bueno, al final, hoy intentaremos subir lo mejor, pero nos estamos adaptando a la conducción. No conseguimos dar con esa confianza, ¿no?, que nos permite conducirlo bien y desarrollar bien. Okay.
So you said that he's still trying to get more confident with his truck. So that's just what he's missing. That's very interesting to talk like that. It's not. He was pointing at his steering wheel and saying, "We don't know yet. It's not the setup, but it's just to being confident, and that's sometimes what it needs."
Yeah, absolutely. You have to be in tune with your vehicle as a driver. You have to be very switched on and know exactly how it's going to behave, and it's working your way up to that limit and making sure that you don't step over that limit, because it's very easy to push too hard and try and get to that limit instantly, and then you can overstep it and suddenly you end up with a damaged racing vehicle, or you lose that confidence because you get caught out by how quickly you've gone past sort of stepping over the mark. I've just been sent a wonderful video as well by Andreas Ahn. Thank you very much, Andreas. He's showing the T-Sport Bernau team very quickly changing the tyres for Antonio Albertetti and controlling the oil levels as well, and making sure that everything's all good, because obviously when you blow a turbo, that's a very key component to these engines, so they're all making sure that he's ready to go. I'm not sure the tyres are actually being changed there. It just looked like they were sort of making sure the pressures and everything were okay. I think maybe Antonio said something about the front left that wasn't quite right, but we'll have to see. There's fans back out on the banks once again. I think the two wonderful people there on the blankets on the right-hand side of our shot were the same from yesterday as well, so very committed. They're there for the full weekend, which is great to see. I wonder if we'll see any of our fans today that were very enthusiastic about horticulture and trees. We'll have to wait and see. John Newell, he's not going to be bothered about the trees or the horticulture at the moment. He's just going to be hoping to crack on and get a better lap on the board. He's currently 0.7 of a second off Louis Requenco. Mark Taylor, I can tell you, did not improve on his previous time on that last lap. Now we go back down to Christina very quickly.
Yes, we're here with Andre Kurzem, and the team said you're all right, you're doing all right. How do you feeling yourself?
Okay, I think the weather is nice and the speed for us is okay today, and yes, we will see what we can do at top 10 qualifying, and hopefully we can get position 5 or 6, and now we are very happy.
Up to another fast lap, or is it enough for Super Pole?
No, we can get a fast lap later.
Thank you very much. So up to a fast lap to you, Chaz.
Thanks very much, Christina. Yes, lovely to see some confidence from Andre Kurzem as well. He's saying that obviously they're looking forward to some decent racing today and hoping that the pace stays strong and hoping that the weather stays decent as well. Because yesterday that rain shower was absolutely unbelievable. I don't think anybody expected it to catch us out like it did. There is the number 23 machine of Antonio Albacete back in the pit lane now as well. Fantastic stuff for them to get that out so quickly. Really shows you how fast these teams are at working on these trucks, and they're all ready to go and get Antonio back out for the next part of the session. And we'll actually go down to Christina, I believe, who's just popped in for a chat with Antonio to see how he's getting on.
Yeah, and he seems relaxed, but the team had a lot of stress, obviously. How great was this effort from the whole team?
Yeah, I mean, great effort. I mean, I would like to thank all of them. They make a great job because, we broke the turbo, but when I go out of the track, I thought it's someone else, because I see the oil on the engine. And I thought, okay, better don't start the engine and go with the crane. But it takes a little bit long to get back to the pits, But, I mean, we are lucky. We are on the Super Pole, so fine. I hope to give back to the team what they do this morning.
And what would that be? You're right now on P3.
Well, it will be good P1, but I don't know. We will try.
Thank you very much. So as you can see, he's still in a good mood, obviously, and the team is also a great camaraderie over here.
Yeah, I, honestly, every time that I just see Antonio or see Antonio getting interviewed, it just brings a smile to my face. He's such a lovely bloke, but he's such a ferocious racer as well. Antonio has an incredible career behind him. He's been in the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship for 26 years now. He raced from 1997 all the way through to 2015. He was absent from the series in 2016, but he's been back with us since 2017. A 3-times champion in 2005, 6 and 10. He's also a Spanish Formula Renault champion, Spanish touring car champion, winning Class 2 in 1990. He's been a factory driver for Fiat, BMW and Opel, all in one decade in the 1990s in what is called the CET, which is basically the Spanish touring car championship. And he's been racing everything like you hear there. I mean, going from Formula Renaults to touring cars to truck racing is quite the change, but amazing stuff from Antonio, and a lovely guy as well. I always enjoy seeing him in the paddock and having a chat with him. Anyway, we've got John Newell back out on track. He is continuing on this charge to try and improve his times. He's just on a 250.771, but it was quite a spirited exit out of the final corner as well, so I'd imagine he might try and get one more lap in with just over 30 seconds on the clock here. He's got Mark Taylor out there on track with him as well, who just missed out on improving once more. We're going to go back to Christina, though, while these guys continue their hot laps.
Yes, absolutely. So Stefan Faas is currently on P9, which would be sufficient for a Super Pole. Wie sieht's aus? Trotzdem noch mal ein bisschen mehr Gas geben, oder ist erstmal gut, dass ihr es da reingeschafft habt?
Ja, erstmal gut, dass wir es reingeschafft haben, klar. Aber jetzt bauen die Reifen immer mehr ab. Also das ist jetzt tatsächlich so, dass wir jetzt keine schnelleren Runden mehr hinbekommen. Jetzt hoffen wir mal, dass wir das in der Super Pole auch umsetzen können und dann gehen wir ins Rennen P9.
So tire management is also a theme right now. They're really decreasing. So you said they try to get a fast lap in Super Pole right now. There isn't anything left in the tank right now, but the pause they're using that to getting ready for Super Pole.
Yeah, that's the thing. There's a bit of a risk when you're in that part of the field. You have to try and obviously put the best lap in that you can early on, but then you don't want to use up the tyres and completely overwork the truck in trying to improve said time and stay within that top 10. If you're just on the brink, like Stefan Faas and Louis Requenco are there, they need to be so careful about that. I think they're confident over the slight pace gap they have over John Newell and Mark Taylor at the moment, but these are two drivers, like we've been saying, that are always learning and always getting quicker. Mark Taylor in his first year in the championship. John Newell was with us for a couple of rounds last season as well, but still is on quite the learning curve, at least at this moment in time, giving it a full campaign. But it's great to have the pair of them with us. They are now teamed up. Lovely shot there as John exits to the left and Mark comes in from the left as well. Into turn 10 goes John Newell, taking a wide line around there to try and tuck it in for turn 11. This right-hander, it's almost like going around a roundabout, as I said yesterday. It's a very smooth radius corner, and then you're on the throttle as early as you can, taking your exit, taking your junction off to turn 12. And there is the beautiful number 24, tank pool 24, Scania of Stefan Faas. We've had qualifying confirmed as a checkered flag now. And Andreas has confirmed for me that Antonio Albertetti's team, T-Sport Paddock, did change the front tyres, actually. So apologies, Andreas, for doubting that. Well, here comes John Newell round the final corner now. What's it going to be in terms of a time? 53.5 in the first sector, 1:19.8 in the second sector. And it's not an improvement, unfortunately, for John. I think the tyres may be just going off over the course of those few laps. He didn't get the sort of prime time in. It's a 2:51, like I say. His best was a 2:46.8, 0.8 of a second off Louis Requenco. So we have our Super Pole drivers now, I'd say. Mark Taylor also not confirming a better time on that final run. So it's Norbert Kisch from Sascha Lenz, Antonio Albersetti, Jochen Hahn, Steffi Halm, Andre Kurzim, Jamie Anderson, Jose Eduardo Rodriguez, Stefan Faas and Louis Requenco. 3 drivers from the Promoters' Cup going through. There's Jamie Anderson's number 33 machine. They're going well so far this season. As you see there, actually, by the door, very interestingly, it's the only right-hand drive truck in the field for this championship. And Mark Taylor, unfortunately, I think he was actually hoping that he would have enough time to get another lap on the board, because that was a 3 minutes 21, that lap. He was slower in all sectors as if it was a cool-down lap, but now he's going to be back into the pits. And unfortunately for Mark, he'll be starting from the back of the field. Luckily for him, though, the field isn't as big as it was, so we've got 12 trucks this weekend. We're hoping to have another 14 back together for Poznan in 2 weeks' time. Really looking forward to seeing how the championship gets on there, actually. We're going to Tour Poznan in Poland on the 24th and 25th of June for rounds 9, 10, 11 and 12. And that's the front end of Jamie Anderson's machine with that very interesting grille design, like I mentioned, highlighted by the beautiful orange flashes. It's great to have Jamie and his team back on the grid. Of course, Jamie, newly a father as well to a baby boy. Congratulations to him and his wonderful wife, Ella. And I hope her and baby are doing well as well, and hope to see them both in the paddock at some point very soon in the near future. So Mark Taylor and John Newell will make their way around the circuit now, back into the pits. And they will end their sessions and prepare for the first race session of the day. We have our broadcast going live for said first race from about 11:25 UK time, 12:25 local time in Slovakia. And it's going to be a trying time for sure for these drivers. Luckily for them, it's not as hot as it was last time we were at the Slovakia ring. I tell you, it was unbelievably hot last year there. It was 41 degrees, I think, on the Saturday for most of the day as well. And then on the Sunday, it was more about 38 degrees, but even still, that I'd say is too hot, especially for someone that lives in the UK. I mean, it's even hot in the UK this weekend by the look of it as well. I say by the look of it, I know it's hot. It's very lovely outside my window right now. There's a bit of grey cloud in the air, actually, as if there's going to be a storm coming over. That's often the case here in the UK. It'll be red hot, and then at the end of the day, it will absolutely cane it down with rain, like we saw yesterday at the Slovakia ring. And unfortunately, my internet struggles sometimes, so if you do hear me drop out at any point over the day, do bear with me, and I'll be straight back on as soon as I can. The wonderful team that we have at Viga Solutions in Neumarkt always do a great job of looking after me and making sure that I've got everything I need. And a shout out to everyone there and all of our camera operators around the circuit as well, and the wonderful people we have on the ground making sure that these broadcasts are as good as they can be. And hats off to all the marshals as well and all the personnel that make sure that these race meetings run as smoothly as they can, because obviously without them we wouldn't be able to go racing. So a big thanks to everybody that gets all of this organised and makes sure that we can go racing in as safe a way and as smooth a way as possible. There's Louis Requenco's wonderful logo on the back of his bright, I was going to say bright green Iveco. It's this gorgeous, dark, metallic green, fantastic sheen on that beautiful Iveco. Very well presented. And like Louis is saying, he needs to just get a bit more confident in the truck. But it's this nice clean design, you know, it's not slathered in logos or anything. I'm never sure which one I prefer, whether I prefer a sort of clean design like that, or whether I do like a lot of logos everywhere to show off how many sponsors a team has. But Louis will be very optimistic about this next session. Yesterday he went out in Superpole and just put a time on the board. He knew that he wasn't going to go and beat Fass and Rodriguez and Anderson and the drivers ahead of him. So he just cracked on and got a time on the board. There's an Audi RS3 LMS TCR car there, one of the Evo cars, which is also one of the championships that's sharing the circuit with us this weekend. TCR Eastern Europe are here. We've got the Swift Cup Europe Max Formula. We've got the F4 Championship. And we also have there's a Clio and MX5 Cup combined championship, actually, which is quite interesting to see. They're all together on the circuit at the same time. It's the F4 CEZ Championship, which is sharing the circuit with us. I know I just called it the Formula 4 Championship, but there's a lot of them. Usually a national championship as well. A lot of countries have their own individual Formula 4 series. Christina is down there in the pit lane, though, with a closer look at things.
Yes, with Stefan Honens. We want to present some new pictures in the championship. He's data engineer. Great to see you here. So what do you think about the experience watching all the trucks right now back on track and this day starting very sunny?
Yeah, but now is the most important or the most exciting part of the whole weekend, you know, when it's Superpole. So now really the super fastest times will be driven.
What do you think, what is necessary for the super fast time?
This is a good setup, you know, good construction, you know, fit driver. So it all comes together now, what we tried the last two days, basically.
How have you been working the last couple of days?
I'm looking at data. I'm the data engineer, so I always analyze what drivers are doing, what trucks are doing, you know, look at the technical side, you know, give advice, and then we'll see the results soon.
Thank you very much, Stefan Honens.
Fantastic stuff. Lovely, lovely. Great to speak to him and, of course, get an insight into what goes on during a race weekend. There's so many people that put in all sorts of efforts from inside the paddock, outside the paddock. There's a lot going on. You know, it's not just a case of stick the driver in the truck and send him out as fast as possible. There is a lot of data that goes on behind the scenes here and a lot of analytics that go on as well. I believe that's one of our marshals that's making his way through the gravel trap. Either that or he's a very enthusiastic fan. But wearing orange, I would assume Marshall. I know it's going to be very, very hot, so without full overalls, he'll just be a flag marshal, not somebody that will be sort of going trackside often. But as you see there, it's nearly 10 to 10 in the morning in Slovakia, and I believe at 10 to 10 exactly, we will be going back out on the circuit. All of the trucks will head out in the order that they finished that previous session. So it'll be Norbert Kish, Sasha Lenz, Antonio Albuquerque, Jochen Hahn, Steffi Halm, Andre Kurzim, Jamie Anderson, Jose Eduardo Rodriguez, Stefan Fass, and Louis Requenco. You can see them all lined up actually in that order on the left-hand side of shot there as they all prepare to head out now. The marshals and officials doing a wonderful job of getting everybody lined up as best they can. And we have only 10 seconds now, I think, before we go back out on circuit. I think I see Jane Rona-Bigler down there actually on the pit wall. Jane is an absolute star of the championship. She's even dyed her hair purple. She's got purple nails, purple trainers, even a purple dog lead as well to support that man there, Sasha Lenz, this year for Apollo Tyres. Jane is a real star of their team and the paddock. Everybody loves Jane. She's fantastic, a real character, and very enthusiastic and loves what she does. She provides all their social media and takes some awesome pictures for them. And many a selfie as well. If you do see Jane, I'm sure she'll love to take a selfie with you, no matter who you are. She's so passionate about it all. But here comes Norbert Kish leading the field away then for Super Pole, and you will see a bit of a dialed back open lap here for these drivers as they get everything up to temperature. Make sure the brakes are in a decent operating window as well. The brakes are oh so important in these trucks. Their usual operating window is about 450 degrees Celsius, which is obviously slightly toasty to say the least. So, Norbert Kish leading, Sasha Lenz, Antonio Albertetti, Jochen Hahn, Steffi Halm, Andrei Kurzim, and then behind them we have Jamie Anderson, Jose Eduardo Rodriguez, Stefan Faas and Louis Requenco. This is a very important session at a circuit like this because there's not going to be many drivers that get more than one fast lap in here. Because of how long the circuit is, the drivers have to balance out this whole driving slowly thing to get it warmed up, but also getting a bit of a shift on here to make sure that if they do muck up their lap, their first lap, that they have another opportunity to go out and set another fast one, because they still need to bring the temperatures back down again and get it back into that window before they can cane it on a second fast lap. So that balance really comes into play of going quickly and not going quickly once they've set that first fast time. There is Jamie Anderson in their new design for this year, gorgeous looking MAN, which has a lot more of a prominent blue on it this season. Last season's truck was mainly black with just a few blue flashes on it. And there's Steffi Halm, who, like I say, certainly got elbowed around yesterday in the second race. She'll be hoping that, of course, that's not the case here today as well. There's Louis Requenco, just at the back of this train at the moment. Like I say, you can really get an idea of how beautiful that clean green design is on his truck. And let's not forget, the racing is all green as well. These trucks run on 100% renewable HVO diesel as well, which has reduced emissions by over 90% in the championship in the last couple of seasons, with no effect on performance, no effect on anything, to be fair, other than bringing the emissions down, which is exactly what the championship wants as it moves forward in sustainability time and time again. We had an amazing Iveco e-truck, an electric racing truck unveiled by Jochen Hahn and Team Hahn Racing at Misano just a few weeks ago. Another amazing step forward in the sustainability of not just truck racing, but obviously working towards sustainability in the logistics and haulage industry as well. Because this is the perfect playground, or let's say test ground. Playground maybe not the most serious word for these sorts of technologies. There is Stefan Faas in his number 24 Tank Pool 24 Racing Scania, with the big yellow flashes on the rear end of it this season, as they are now sponsored by Manfilter. It's always been a very colourful and very pretty truck, as Stefan Faas says. Since I've started commentating on this championship, it's always been one of the best looking on the grid. And the best looking on the grid in terms of lap times now is Norbert Kish. He was very, very quick in the initial qualifying session, and he's going to want to make sure he outdoes this man, Sasha Lenz, number 3 for SL Apollo Tyres Truck Sport. Sasha still carrying, of course, the bright green flashes that he has all over his trucks. It's almost like his signature colour for Sasha Lenz. Clashes slightly with the purple, but we all still think it looks very, very good indeed. There's Jose Eduardo Rodriguez between Jamie Anderson and Stefan Faas. He's going to be hoping for maybe a bit more track space if either of them muck up their laps. Norbert Kish is pushing on here, though. Look at the way that his truck moves, though, in comparison to a number of others. The cab may roll around like you will naturally see in these machines. They've still got over 3 tons of the weight over the front end, and it has to be measured over the front axle as well. But the platform underneath his truck, where the 4 wheels are, if you consider it as a solid flat platform with the cab just plonked on top of it, those 4 corners on that platform look so stable. The contact patch with the road, the way that the tyres are always making as much contact as possible with the road is just awesome. The way that the wheel sits inside the arch and just leans in. The caster angle, the camber, all of it working in beautiful harmony as the machine just stays stuck to the road and the cab is just sort of along for the ride while Norby guides it round the circuit. In the wet weather, it becomes even more apparent as well, just the way that this thing behaves. Look at Baloo diving down onto the brakes now, Baloo being the name of the truck. It's an ex-Sasha Lenz MAN as well. Sasha built that truck originally. We were actually taking the mick out of some of the welding on it at Misano. I spoke to Csaba Bako and Sasha as they were inspecting the new builds for the season, let's say. And Sasha was telling us how awful his welding work was at the time when he was building it, bless him. He's a fantastic character. There's another fantastic character as well, Antonio Alberthetti, making his way round to the final couple of corners now. He's just about to hit turn 13. Look at how vast turn 13 is. It's like its own circuit. All the way around they go. And then they just have to manage that slight weight transfer to the left as they go through turn 14 there. They just smoothly guide it round. Don't let it run too wide because otherwise you're just hindering your lap and making the distance a lot longer. And there is a 2:42.124 for Norbert Kish. Just to put that into context, the race lap record around here at the Slovakia ring, in a truck anyway, is 2 minutes 42.803. So nearly 7 tenths quicker than the race lap record there for Norbert Kish. A great, great time. In I think it was 2022 actually, I think last season he did a 2:41.9 in qualifying. It was a disgustingly fast time. But it's another solid lap by Norbert Kish that puts him nearly 1.4 seconds clear, and Jochen Hahn is really not happy with his time. 2 seconds off there for the number 2 machine. And you can see he's not hanging about either. He's going straight onto another fast lap. He's really getting on with this because, like I said before, if you muck up that first lap, you're not going to have much of a chance to get another one on the board. It's Alberthetti third. Steffi Halm doing well up there in 4th place, just ahead of Jamie Anderson. Jose Eduardo Rodriguez leading the Promoters' Cup. And he's actually ahead of Louis Requenco, who's gone second there, with Stefan Faas in 10th place. So far this season, all pole positions have gone the way of Jose Eduardo Rodriguez in the Promoters' Cup. Just looking now to see where... And the Jochen Hahn should be okay. I think he should be all right to get another lap in, yeah, by the look of it. Based on the sector times that he's doing, he's basically on another fast lap right now, actually. You can see there's a few others actually that are just coming around as well. I was looking at the sector times thinking there's a few of them actually that are really scooting on here, and there is one of them, Andrei Kurzim, pushing on very, very hard indeed. It looked like the bodywork was coming away from the windscreen slightly on the front left of that machine there. Not quite sure what that was all about. There's been a lap time cancelled for truck number 38 of Jose Eduardo Rodriguez, actually, for track limits. He's had his lap time taken away. So across the line goes a multitude of them, all going up for one more fast lap. There's 5 seconds left on the clock, so they've managed to get one in at least. And Jochen Hahn didn't improve that time round, so this is going to be the fast lap, the attack lap by Jochen Hahn. 6-time Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Champion. 2021 was the first time that he'd finished lower than third in the championship since 2011. It was over 10 years that he'd been in the top 3 of the championship every season, which just shows you the amazing consistency and pace of Jochen Hahn. He's been in the championship for 24 years as of this year. Started racing in the year 2000. He won the championship in 2011, 12 and 13. And then he won it again in 2016. Decided to have a year off, 2018 and 2019, but he's raced in all of them since then. And since then, I mean, he's been with us since the year 2000. He's been consistent in the championship. He hasn't had an actual year out of the series, but just had 1 year of not winning it, by the look of it. There is Sascha Lenz, as he also wants to improve on being 1.4 seconds down on Norbert Kisch. Jochen Hahn's sector times are looking pretty decent at the moment. There's Louis Requenco, Jamie Anderson straight back into the paddock. He's set a lap time that he's happy with. And it looks like now Antonio has actually backed out of his lap time. Jose Eduardo Rodriguez pushing on. Obviously, he's the one that really needs to set a time now after having his first lap deleted. Jochen Hahn will be coming round the final corner now to complete a lap, I believe. Any moment now. And there he was ahead of Sascha Lenz, with Andre Kurzim just behind. Through the sweeping left-hander they go. What's the time looking like for Jochen Hahn? No, it's a 2:44.4, so he hasn't improved. Jochen Hahn stays down there in 6th position. Wow, oh wow. Not the lap time Jochen Hahn would have wanted. Jose Eduardo Rodriguez pops back up, though, into the top of the Promoters' Cup. Fantastic turnaround there by Jose Eduardo. Not quite as quick as he went before, but I tell you, he'll be happy with that one. Truck 38 will start from P8 on the grid and ahead of Louis Requenco and Stefan Faas, very importantly. And I tell you what, Requenco's consistency is good. He was only 16 thousandths of a second off his best time on that second lap. So 2 almost identical laps for Louis Requenco, 2:46s at both times. We're going to head down to Christina, though, as the session comes to an end.
Yes, it is Jamie Anderson back in the paddock. It's been just a 1/10 of a second in between you and Steffi Hahn. Wow, that's narrow.
Yeah, no, it is tight. You know, the track is very complicated and the time can be lost a lot more than it can be gained. So we're happy with where we are. It's a good position. You know, we're good off the start and we like the fight. You know, it is good for us. And, yeah, we're still slowly learning and we're going forward each time. So that's the main thing.
How do you adjust in these conditions? Because yesterday you couldn't count on the weather, you couldn't count on the conditions this wise. I'm looking at the sky right now. It seems to be blue, but we never know.
Yeah, it's a gambling game, isn't it? You know, sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, and you just have to be prepared for whichever. And the guys get to the pit lane with different items or an idea in their head with a scenario, what's going to happen if it rains. You know, so we're geared up, ready to do it. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, like yesterday, race 2. You know, it starts off dry and then all of a sudden the Evans open and that's it. So it is what it is and you just have to drive with what you got.
Take your preparation time. Thank you very much, Jamie Anderson.
Thank you.
Back to you, Chaz.
Thanks very much, Christina. It's lovely to see that Jamie's in good spirits. He's in realistic spirits as well in the lead up to the first race of the day. But with Superpole done, It is Norbert Kish that takes his 4th pole position of the season. It's 100% record for Norbert Kish so far this season. Sasha Lenz alongside him on the front row, though. He'll be very happy with that, because looking at the grids from yesterday, I don't think Sasha Lenz was on the front row at all. He wasn't. He actually started the first race, I think, from 4th on the grid. So starting alongside Norby. I remember a fantastic interview with Sasha just last season, as he was saying just how good Norby is around here, but in very different words with some colourful language. But he was saying that his starts are pretty good. Sasha Lenz has always been really good at starts, and Norby knows that as well. He's mentioned it before, actually, in a couple of interviews, so be intriguing to see. There's the Anderson boys maintaining the timing screens and checking their phones for whatever they can, hopefully listening to the broadcast as well, boys. Hope you're having a wonderful day of it. But yes, indeed, Jamie will be happy with 5th position from that qualifying session. Very, very solid stuff by Jamie once again. But Jochen Hahn will not be happy with the 6th place that he's got himself into. He's got a lot more work to do than he would have liked. Normally it'd be starting on the front row of the grid that would be his usual position. And now the calm falls over the circuit as everybody goes slowly into the pit lane. It's amazing how quickly a calm falls over the circuit, isn't it? It goes very, very quiet. But you can bet that the paddock will be buzzing with excitement ahead of the first race of the day. Like I was saying just before, our broadcast is due to get started at 12:25 local time at the Slovakia ring, pending any delays from other championships. One of the things that makes this weekend very interesting, like a couple of others that we get over the course of the season, is that we share the paddock with another couple of championships. So the schedule is very, very tight, and everybody needs to do their best to be on time for everything and make sure there's no delays where possible. Because usually in a lot of series or a lot of events that we do, we'll be the only championship on the grid. So we sort of do our own thing as such, sometimes needing a bit of a tighter turn there by Jose Eduardo Rodriguez. Louis Requenco makes his way in, and then Antonio Albacete as well. You can see some of the grid markers being put in place there for the next event or next race of the day, as cars will be now brought out. There's Jochen Hahn going back to their awning, the Team Hahn racing machine. It's not the only one we'll see from them this year either. Not only have they unveiled the Iveco e-truck, but we will also have Lucas Hahn, Jochen's son, racing at a couple of events as well. It was great to see Lucas and his new baby as well at Misano just a couple of weeks ago. Really look forward to having Lucas back on the grid. He took a very emotional victory at the Nürburgring last season, which it was beautiful to witness. And I'm sure he'll be very excited to get back out in his Iveco S-Way. Nice to have another Iveco on the grid as well. Jose Eduardo Rodriguez there, just doing some manoeuvring in the paddock. It's still a very strange sight to some people to see racing trucks in a paddock as well, because, yeah, sure, they're a lot smaller than the trucks that you and I will see on the road, but I do know that they are still not small racing machines at all. 5.3 tonnes, 3.1 tonnes over the front axle, 12-litre six-cylinder single turbocharged engines, and nearly 1,200 horsepower. Fantastic numbers. Norbert Kish, though, he's got the fantastic numbers for today. 242.766 puts him on pole position. And he's going to have Sasha Lenz with him on the front row of the grid. Although Antonio Albacete starting third is definitely, well, he's where he is, but Jochen Hahn is showing up as 4th position there for some reason. Jochen, I think, in the first session managed 4th, but he's actually going to be starting from 6th on the grid. It's going to be Jamie Anderson who's going to be 5th, behind Steffi Halm, who's actually going to be 4th, and then Andre Kurzim would be in the mix as well. The bottom three are Jose Eduardo Rodriguez, but then I believe it was Louis Requenco ahead of Stefan Faas as well in 8th, 9th and 10th. So I think that graphic is from the initial qualifying session. We know that John Newell and Mark Taylor will be 11th and 12th, but there was a little bit more shuffling to be done there, as I think that was showing the qualifying session before Superpole, which is the order that we got there. That is still coming through on the timing screen as well, I can confirm. It is showing Jochen Hahn as in 4th position, but Jochen will be starting 6th on the grid with a lot of work to do after that Superpole run, which won't have left him very pleased, to say the least. But of course, we all look forward to seeing how Jochen can progress through the pack There's the back of Norby's machine in the scrutineering bay. There's Csaba Bako overseeing proceedings there outside of scrutineering. There is Norby, the man himself, once again, pole position, 4th pole position of the season. And he took 2 race victories yesterday as well. So he's got 4 poles now, 4 wins, and 4 visits to the podium. Every time he's been on the podium this season, he's been on the top step. And let's not forget how his season started as well, with a non-point score finish after an electrical failure at Misano. There's Sasha Lenz, the number 3 machine, ready to go on. Sasha, you can just see his head poking up above the truck at the bottom of the shot there. Now the Clio Cup is on its way out of the circuit, onto the circuit by the look of it. There's Clio Cups and MX-5s racing together this weekend, which is an interesting combination, but it's 2 of the finest track day machines you will ever see. But you can see that it's better conditions today for sure than it was yesterday. Although we said that during qualifying, and it was lovely all day until that first race. It was literally as soon as we got everybody on the grid, it's like someone was watching and saying, right, let's make it rain on them lot. Here's another look then at qualifying. That is the Super Pole graphic. Thank you very much to the guys behind the scenes for getting that one sorted. Norbert Kish, pole position. Sasha Lenz alongside him. Antonio Alberthetti and Steffi Halm make a very interesting second row, actually, to chase them down. Jamie Anderson will start 5th ahead of Jochen Hahn. Andre Kurzim will start alongside Jose Eduardo Rodriguez, who will be ahead, very importantly, of Louis Requenco and Stefan Faas, especially when it comes to the Promoters' Cup fight between those 3 drivers. Behind them, of course, John Newell and Mark Taylor did not make it through into Superpole, but they'll be looking forward to a good fight with some of their Promoters' Cup colleagues, let's say, a bit further down the order. And we'll go back down to Christina in the paddock for another quick chat.
Yes, thank you very much, Chaz. And I just found a sweet space here. It's very calm, as you said, relaxing in the paddock. Some people are working, and those are the mechanics, of course, because we are ahead of race number 1, and we would like to be back with you guys and girls out there joining us for our 3rd race this weekend at the Slovakia ring. As you can hear maybe at the back, those were the best days of my life. Who is going to be having a best day of his or her life in this race number 3? We are ahead here of Sasha Lenz's team. They're also sitting down and waiting as we do and chill out until we see each other ahead of race number 3. So we will provide you, of course, with the highlights, and I would just relax.
Yes, indeed, another busy qualifying session sees Norbert Kish come out on top. And he's going to be really looking forward to starting from the front once again, especially with his old sparring partner Sasha Lenz alongside him. Sasha hungry for that first win of the season, and it will be a great, great duel, I am sure. I look forward to seeing how they get on at turn 1. But Norbert Kish, taking another pole position, 4 so far this season. Alberthetti and Halm starting from the second row of the grid will be a real belter as well. Great to see Antonio Alberthetti back out there, especially after all the hard work that the team did after he blew a turbo in the warm-up session earlier on. But once again, showing how sturdy these machines and these teams and these personnel are. And we look forward to another 2 fantastic races coming up today, which will be rounds 7 and 8 of the 2023 Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. We hope to see you there, everybody, as we'll be back from the Slovakia ring very, very soon.